Hey, it's Rick here with just some random thoughts and impressions about the new Xbox that was just announced today, this being Tuesday, May 21st. So if you happen to miss it, the new Xbox is called Xbox One. It will release sometime toward the end of this year. They didn't give a specific date, but if I had to bet on it, I'd probably say sometime in the month of November before the Thanksgiving holiday. You want to get those sales in, and in the US at least, that's a big time of year to make sales. So I'm guessing probably around November. No price point was given. However, again, I'm going to guess probably about $499. Now, if we're talking about the console itself, let's first talk about that. Some highlights here. It now includes a Blu-ray player. So finally, they have a Blu-ray player built in. The console itself, in my opinion, is huge. It's a big giant box, and first things that it reminded me of was the original PS3, the fat version of that, but bigger. So I'll be interested to see how they're doing cooling in this machine, if it's air-cooled, water-cooled, what is it? Because with the machine that big and all the stuff going on in it, hopefully they're not going to have overheating issues like they did with the first round of Xbox 360s. So that's kind of the size. Now, it also has a new Kinect that's coming with it that sports 1080p resolution. It also tracks fine motor movements, fingers, all that kind of stuff. And it also casts a wider net, so it's going to capture more, improve voice recognition and things like that. Back to the machine. They didn't say a whole heck of a lot about specs other than, 8 gigs of RAM. They didn't talk about CPU architecture all that much. They said it's running on 3 operating systems, that being a proprietary Xbox One OS, a Windows kernel, and then also a third OS that ties the two together. This whole presentation was very heavily focused upon entertainment, and I think they're going to save E3 for the games. As a matter of fact, I know they are, because they mentioned at E3 we'll see their game lineup. Very few games were shown here. It was more about entertainment, how this system will work with your existing television providers to show live content on screen so you can interact with it and do things like, let's say you're watching ESPN, you can pull in your fantasy football leagues and things like that, all on screen as this is taking place. Interesting to note, Apple is starting to, in my opinion, lag behind with the release of their Apple TV, and what may have been kind of groundbreaking with the PS4 and now Xbox One introducing these things for TV, Apple's going to have to come up big when they finally announce a TV release, because they're kind of getting behind the 8 ball, in my opinion, here. But enough about that. So there was a lot of entertainment talk here, not so much games. Again, this was broadcast here in the US on Spike TV to the mass market. So I think that's why they went with this approach. But it could leave gamers feeling a bit shunned here. So we'll see at E3. From an entertainment perspective, I will say this, though. They brought in a prior exec from CBS, and they're going to have their own production studio basically now to present live programming or television series, I should say, to Xbox One. And the first thing they announced was a television live action series based on Halo. And this is also created with Steven Spielberg. He actually spoke to it in the presentation today. So they're bringing in some pretty big hitters to produce content, entertainment content, for the new Xbox One. They showed a little bit about the controller and how it's going to have some different shape to it. It didn't look drastically different, but it looked a lot cleaner and definitely more next gen to me. Triggers are going to have force feedback and some additional responses to it that developers can work with. But, it was a good presentation. It didn't blow me away. I think that possibly the PS4 Prezo was a little bit stronger because they showed more games. The games that we did see, Forza 5, Call of Duty Ghosts, there were a few others out there. They didn't show us actual gameplay. It was all, let's say, cutscenes or intro footage. So while that may be real-time rendering and it seemed very nice, it didn't show us actual gameplay to be able to understand how different is playing a game going to look on the new Xbox One. So that's at a high level. I'm sure there's things I've missed here. Again, you can head on over to an IGN or a Game Trailers to get more details, but I'd be interested to hear you guys' thoughts. How did you feel the Prezo went? Are you guys going to pick up an Xbox One at launch? Or are you going to wait? Do you think E3 will really be when we'll hear more about games? One of the other things about games, they mentioned 15 exclusive titles are in the works, and 8 of those are going to be brand new IPs. So at least that's new too. I mean, that's a good thing to get some new titles here that aren't just sequels. So that's promising, and we'll have to probably wait until E3 to hear what those things are. But again, leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear it. As a final note, I live streamed, and I'll tell you right now, that's hard to do. So a lot of technical things that I got to work through with live streaming, getting audio right, getting video right, pulling in data slides and things like this. So if you guys join the live stream, I do appreciate it. I certainly appreciate you bearing with me on this one. It was my first live stream, and any of you guys who live stream, big kudos to you, because it's a whole nother ball game than shooting videos and posting them here on YouTube. And I learned that real quick. So I will live stream again in the future, but I'm going to nail that down before I actually host another one. So again, want to hear your thoughts? Leave them in the comments down below, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care, everybody, and have fun.